Hey, what's up? GW Company Live. First of all, I know I wasn't on YouTube this weekend. It was a combination of, last weekend was my birthday, May 1st. And this weekend, that was just passed, was Mother's Day. So it was been pretty busy. A lot of people have wished me happy birthday, and I just want to say thank you to everybody. I told my wife, I said, I said, when people pay attention to you, they actually care. And, you could have just simply said hi, and somebody could say, hey, it's your birthday, happy birthday. It's the little things in life that matter and go a long way. So, wanted to thank everybody for wishing me a happy birthday. No, I'm not old. No, I don't feel like it. Numbers are one thing, but attitude is a whole different game. So, I'm going to just put it out like that because I am not old. I am not ready to sit there, and I'm not ready to get my AARP discount. Although that would be nice. You can get some free stuff. My mom and dad, man, they make a killing off of that stuff, man. They go to Wendy's. They get like all kinds of food for like $3 or something, man. That's crazy. But it did get to me a little bit, guys. I'm not going to lie. It did get to me because I looked at my wife. I said, am I old? She looked at me and she started laughing. She goes, Greg, what are you talking about? And I do love my wife. She has made this birthday the best birthday I have ever had. And I know she's not home right now. And if she was, I would tell her I love her. So there's that. Second thing, again, want to give a couple big shout outs to some people before I talk about this movie. Number one, thank you to Silverstream. Their coffee is awesome. Oh, except you, Zach. Zach, you need to know how to flavor stuff. So I suggest you turn to your brother and say, hey, man, how do I do this? No, I'm kidding, Zach. You are awesome. Everybody at Silverstream, where I work, they are really, really great. And I really appreciate every morning coming. They taking care of us, everything. I also want to give a big shout out to a friend of mine, Joe, call him Admiral Joe, a.k.a. Laser, He actually has a pretty cool channel. I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. He's all into Knight Rider, and that was a big part of my childhood. In fact, one of these videos, I'm going to just, tell you what I remember about Knight Rider and everything. Because there's a little bit there. I don't know as much as most because I was not into cars whenever I was a kid. I'm sorry, Joe. I know you're falling back in your seat right now. But, yeah, I was just not into cars. Cars wasn't my thing, but I knew Knight Rider, and I remember a lot of stuff, so that's another video for another time. I also, in talking with Joe, I said, hey, man, why don't you change your name from whatever the channel is, because I don't know right offhand, to the Knight Rider Historical Preservation Society. Now, I think that sounds good. Yeah. So I think Joe maybe will change his title, and I appreciate that. And Joe's a good guy. For those of you who don't know, I'll get the right name of his channel, and I don't know how to link it in the description or none of that, but I will let you guys know, tell you guys where to go. So yeah, keep that under advisement. So in my birthday, I've watched a few movies. Some of them were old, some of them were new. I watched Inferno, which is an old Dario Argento movie, and if you like horror, I suggest you check it out. It's a little bit interesting. Delve deep into his other work. First of all, check out Suspiria, then Inferno, and then The Mother of Tears. Check those out. Those are pretty wicked. They're a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a little bit more sophisticated, if you will. They are more giallo oriented. I know I said that wrong. But they are something, and they're not your run-of-the-mill, murderous rampage horror films. And so I've been checking those out. I am going to check out the new Silent Night, Deadly Night that came out at the end of last year, was it? Now, it's currently on Screenbox. I have not had a chance to sit down and watch it. Big fan of the original. In fact, I have a video review of the original that I really can remember as a kid, and I thought it was pretty good. I think that was one of my best reviews, ever. And that movie, man, that movie was something. They don't make them like that anymore. So I'm really interested to see what they did with the remake, and see if see if there's going to be sequels, whatever. I haven't seen it, so if those of you who do see it, don't comment anything. I want to be surprised. So, but one of the other movies I saw is streaming on Disney Plus. Believe it or not, it's on Hulu, and it is probably the furthest thing from a Disney movie I can tell you. But I watched it because I saw it, and I was going to actually buy it on Amazon, but I was like, you know what? I'll wait. Let me check this out. And it's Sam Raimi's Send Help. And this movie is amazingly entertaining, and it combines a lot of things, guys. But the premise is, well, first of all, there's some cool people in here. So first of all, Rachel McAdams is in here. She plays the main character of Linda. Linda is that girl that works in an office that gets passed over for everything, right? Promotions and whatnot. She's also the person in the back of the office, and I know every office has one of these people that work her tail off, that, has been there X number of years in this corporation. And they don't really go on, and they don't really say what company this is. It's a fictional company that she works for. Obviously, movies are fictional. Duh, Greg. But her boss is played by Dylan O'Brien. And Dylan O'Brien plays Bradley in the film. Bradley is a cutthroat new executive looking to basically trim the fat around the office, and you guys guessed it, the minute Rachel is in line for a promotion, she gets her dreams shattered. Or not Rachel, Linda. Sorry. And Linda is a survivor freak. And I'm talking like that's her nightly thing. She watches Survivor around the clock. So she's actually somebody you would want in case of some shit popping off. And believe me, in this movie, some shit does pop off. So, what basically happens in this movie is that Linda goes to Bradley's office and says, hey, I worked all these years, all this hard to get somewhere. And he says, basically, you're not management material, so you have to basically go back down. His plan is to cut or fire her after a meeting in Bangkok, I believe. Bangkok or Budapest, I can't remember. And from a dark comedy sort of Office, the show Office, right? We go right into a plane crash right out of Lost, and Sam Raimi really kicks up the gore. In fact, if you guys know anything about Sam Raimi, which you're horror fans, you guys should know, he really amps up the gore. I mean, and of course, there's only two survivors. They crash on a Lost-type island, and basically, it's about two people who slowly start to unravel a little bit. And it's a dark comedy. I don't want to say black comedy because I don't want to be racist, but dark comedy. Because it had some scathing humor in it. And it's got a mixture of, like I said, Lost, The Office. I would say maybe a little bit of Friday the 13th, if you can classify Jason's mother as part of Linda's personality, I would say. You've also got, you've got all kinds of twists and turns. There are a few of them. There's a few twists and turns that really got me, and it's one of them deals, guys. Like in Glory, or not Glorious, in the Hateful Eight. Do you guys remember when it was at the halfway point, and they showed you what happened to the actual occupants of that little bar they were in? But the main characters don't know, but you get a glimpse of it. At the end of this movie, you get a glimpse of it, and it's pretty wicked. I mean, this girl, Linda, is very, very cunning. She's very wicked, and it's almost like she belongs in the next Ready or Not movie. But as far as gore goes, there's a lot of it. There's a couple of people that die on the plane crash, and I can't remember how, because that scene is staged so well where only 2 of them survive out of like 5, I think. There is a scene where Linda goes hunting for a boar that really amps up the gore in the movie. She also ends up killing a few people toward the end of this movie. And you know what? I can't say that her character is wrong in this, because even when they were stranded on the island, Bradley still thinks he's Linda's boss. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, but if I was stranded in the middle of nowhere with my boss, he ain't my boss. We're just 2 guys trying to get out of a situation. He pulls that boss card. Guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. Not that I would do anything. My boss is awesome. But it's a really interesting movie, and it was pretty bloody toward the end. And like I said, there's some twists and turns that you don't see happening. But the main takeaway of this movie is to treat coworkers as you want to be treated. So in other words, Bradley is the perfect example of a guy who's out of control, who thinks he can run the whole world, and he's not. And he treats Linda like crap, and you see it come full circle. And there's a lot of things in this movie. This movie needs to be watched, like, I think twice, because it's one of them ones where you're going to talk about it afterward. And like I said, it was highly entertaining. And it was one of those ones you didn't really know how it was going to turn out. And you just had to hang on for the ride. Now, also in the movie too, there's a scene where they start talking about personal life. And there's some things in Linda's past that I think get triggered and make her as vicious as she becomes. There's also some things in Bradley's past that I think are brought up. And it gets to a boiling point. And I think when you put 2 people in a place where they are isolated, you're going to have tension no matter what. And that's what this movie shows pretty good. And you see what happens to Bradley whenever he ticks Linda off and she walks away. I mean, it's just, this whole movie is just, from top to bottom, it's a dark comedy that's very entertaining, very poignant, little bit graphic, and it was highly entertaining. And I can't really say enough good things about it. I really enjoyed it. And the fact that it was on Hulu, I had to almost do a double take. I was like, you know what? Because some movies on Hulu are good, but then you get them ones that are just mediocre, and I'm glad this one is not it. For real. So check out Send Help. It's showing now, and I think you guys will like it. I liked it. You know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And toward the end, I mean, there's a fight between the 2 of them that gets almost to Kill Bill level. Doesn't quite reach it, but it does almost parallax or almost get to that point, to be fair. So definitely worth checking out. I dug it. I also watched 28 Years Later, and you know what? I liked it. It was pretty graphic. It was in your face. If you guys seen it, you saw it. I think the reason that it didn't do good or it was not perceived very well is because I think people were expecting another one coming down the pike, and when you leave it empty open like that, because it's been a while since I watched 28 Years Later. So picking up this entry was a little bit rough for me to do, but I did check it out and it was okay. It's a story you can pick up and not have to watch the other entries. It's a standalone, but it would help if you did. So technically you can't say that. I don't really know what to make of it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was cool, but it wasn't like something I would camp over in a movie theater to watch, you know. So I don't know what to make of that film. I really don't. So yeah, definitely give those that movie Send Help a proper thing. And like I said, I'm gonna jump on Silent Night, Deadly Night. Couple other real quick things, just minor things. The new Invincible video game dropped. I had known nothing about the Invincible video game or the Invincible cartoon. I have never watched it. So I'm on my Xbox, right? And I'm just screwing around and I'm like, oh, this should be good. I ended up buying it. And people are on the fence. They either love it or hate it or they say whatever. I picked it up and I had a blast. And I know the campaign is super duper short, but I had a blast in it. I could sit there and play that stupid game over and over and over again on easy because I am not getting my tail kicked. So it kind of was a gateway because now I actually want to watch the show. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't believe the reviews about anything because it could lead you into things you never, would otherwise get into. So take that for what it's worth. And what else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to talk about, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, man, like I said, Mother's Day. Mother's Day was crazy. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. So this happened to me and my wife the other day, right? So this is how crazy last weekend was. So my wife wanted to go out, and we had taken my mom out for Mother's Day. We took her to the Fortune Star here, and it was a great meal. It was top-notch meal, but we took her before Mother's Day because if you guys don't know anything, things get crazy and really packed, during Mother's Day. So we went out, me and my wife. We were going to go see her mother. So we were going to eat at Eaton Park. Eaton Park was a no-go, and this is like at 9 o'clock in the morning. There was a line out the door, and it was just insane. So we go over to McDonald's, and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, steak and egg biscuit. Yeah, buddy, because that's how you roll, you know what I mean? So we get in line. There's about 3 or 4 people in line, and they have a new girl at the counter. And the manager is right behind the counter, right? And every order, this girl had to ask the manager. Now, I understand that it might be your first day. I understand that you may need help. But when somebody shows you 17, 18, 19, 20, 25 times, and you're still not getting it, people are going to get irate. And I was trying not to. So there was a guy in front of us, senior citizen, and he wanted a coffee and like 2 sausage and egg cheese McGriddles, which was like, I don't know, maybe a number 3, right? Said a number 3 and a large coffee. So she does it, but she puts it in wrong. And this is after the manager had talked to her about 4 times. And I could tell this manager was getting irate with her. So, and he's hard of hearing, so now he's yelling over the whole store, I want a number 3, large coffee. And finally she's like, I'm new at this, I can't do it. So she cracked. Manager comes out and goes, don't panic, here's what we're going to do. Bing, bang, boom, done, right? So we get up there and I tell her, 2 steak, egg, and cheese biscuits. Because I was hungry as crap. I hadn't eaten. I was up since 3. I didn't want to eat because my wife said we were going to breakfast. Next time I'm going to eat. Sorry, honey. But, so I actually pointed to the thing. I said, I want 2 of those and 2 hash browns. And she rang it up and the price was right? So we go sit down. And I get 1 sandwich. We get 6 hash browns. My wife ordered a large coffee. She got a baby-sized coffee. I'm talking about like this big, right? That big. That's how big her coffee was, right? So now she's already ticked off, right? And I am too, because I'm like, all right, I haven't eaten. I knew this crap was going to happen. You want me to go say something? I go to get up. The line is about maybe 10, 12 people deep that want to kill this girl. So we suffered our losses. We got extra hash browns, but I minus the sandwich. I mean, how do you do that? So we got out of there okay. Now my wife is furious and fuming. And I was like, you want me to call? She's like, don't even bother. We're never going back there again. I said, yes, dear. You know what I mean? You messing around. So then we go over to Boscov's. And you have to duck behind clothes, take detours where you can't even walk because they're redoing the floor. So her mother's clothes were right up front. They were moved all the way in the back. I mean, the very, very back. So we get her some stuff, and then Dawn's like, well, let's go up to the top to get gift cards, because they got them up there, right? They got everything up there, gift cards, candy, whatever. I said, cool. I said, so I'm going to go use the bathroom while you go up there. So we go up there. I go in the bathroom. The bathroom's empty, and you guys know how big they are, right? They are huge. I got every sink in the place turned on. There is nobody there. I'm thinking, like, are they doing that shit like the Wet Bandits? Were they here or something? So I'm nice. I turn everything off. Do my thing, leave. And then we go up and the guy's like, Dawn's like, can I get a gift card? They're sitting right underneath the guy on the opposite side, on our side. He's like, oh no, man, you're going to have to go down there. I said, buddy. I said, they're right here. My wife has had it at this point. So we get the gift card. We tell this kid, hey, just a precaution. You go in the men's room, everything was on. And my wife is still bitching about the McDonald's thing. So we leave the mall. We go down to downtown Butler. We catch every damn red light there is to catch. And she's getting miserable. I'm getting miserable too, because I'm like, you know what, we ain't going to be home till freaking 1 o'clock. This is just great. I'm beginning to hate Butler, and my wife is too. Not the actual city, just stupid things about, And we go see her mom. That went pretty well. And we go to Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle was a madhouse. So we got in, got out. Told my wife, I said, look, I'm sorry about everything. Let me buy you dinner. She's like, no, let's go over to Wendy's. Okay, cool. We got Wendy's, no problem. We're going home from the mall. I got 5 or 6 people passing me on a double line. I'm like, what is this, idiot day or something? My wife's like, I just want to go home. I'm done. I got a headache going. She's done. So we come home. And it was just one of them days where, everything went wrong. And that. And I know you'll have them days. I know that. And then Sunday, I didn't even get to go see my mom, so I feel like crap, actually. Sunday's our day, and I'm sure it's you guys' too, where you do the laundry, you catch up on everything. You vacuum, you dust, you do the dishes, right, what have you. I did a lot of work. I went in that bathroom, our bathroom, and I cleaned the whole thing top to bottom. Gave it a hell of a detailed job because I know my wife's not a mother, but I wanted to do it to say, hey, I love you. So I'm in there for like 2 hours, something. I mean, I'm getting everything, right? I come out here and vacuum. I do laundry. And I was done. I was done. So I told Mom, I said, hey, I'll bring up your mother's gay card today. But she can't because she's taking my dad to the doctor. Everything's cool. Everything's cool. But it just makes you feel like crap. So you run the gamut of emotions. And I don't know. And there's so many people like that are still wishing me happy birthday. And that kind of picks you up. Because I told my wife, I said, I didn't know I mattered to all these people, right? But anyways, I just wanted to give you that review about that movie. I know it's been a little bit, and I'm sorry. I try to come on here, guys, and I try to give you guys the best I can. And like I told my man Joe, who runs the Knight Rider site, or the Knight Rider channel, I said, life kicks you in the tail. Like you get up, and you mean to do something, and life just says no. And I think, when you're young, you run around everywhere like a ball of fire. You don't care. But then you learn that life can really mess with you. But I'm glad that I still have the subscribers I do because, I'm glad that you guys actually check this stuff out because, But yeah, I got a lot of people, and I want to thank everybody who watches me, And like I said, my man Joe, I hope you change your name of your YouTube channel, dude. I'm telling you, the Knight Rider Historical Preservation Society. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like something should be in a movie, Hey man, what building did them Transformers blow up? Dude, they blew up the the Knight Rider Historical Preservation Society, man. Go get them. You know what I mean? Oh, that was the other thing I want to talk about. So, real quick. So, there was a streaming service called Brown Sugar. And it's where you could watch all your blaxploitation films like Shaft and Coffee and all them Pam Grier stuff. I love that stuff. I love it because it's so corny. And the movies are just entertaining. And like Shaft. Shaft is a classic. I've seen all of them. So they had this streaming service up. I think it was $4 a month, right? And they let you have a free trial. So I'm like, all right, this is like a couple weeks ago. Right. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'll watch all that shit. Like Superfly, Ron O'Neal, man, love that shit. And I go to try to do it, and it won't come on. And I said, okay. I said, so they got a number, right? I'm going to call. And I call them, and they say, hey, man, we shut down. I said, what? They said, yeah, we're taking all of our movies and we're moving them to different platforms. And I said, why? Because when I was growing up, you always heard about Shaft. You always heard about Dolomite. Superfly I used to have on VHS. And Superfly was cool, man. Ron O'Neal was a kingpin, man. He did cocaine, drove this custom Cadillac, fought with the police. Oh, man, it was great. But they were so corny and they were entertaining, Like Shaft went to Africa, and Dolomite is the greatest movie in history because I'm going to tell you why. Because you ever want to see something funny, watch Dolomite. There's the most fakest movie dropkick in history. Dolomite, right? Rudy Ray Moore throws a dropkick, and there's a cop standing about 10 feet away, and the cop gets hit by the dropkick. The dropkick was only 3 or 4 feet away from Ron O'Neal, I forgot who I was talking about. Dolomite. Yeah. Rudy Ray Moore. That's who it was, not Ron O'Neal. I get the two mixed up. But anyway. But it's great. And the dialogue was just so vicious, it couldn't be taken seriously. Like they throw a thing of cops in Dolomite, right? They throw a thing of cocaine in his car. And he said, hey, man, that shit ain't mine, man. And they're like, yeah, Dolomite, but as in your alcohol, man, you going to jail. And then all of a sudden he pulls out a Mac 10, right? Starts spraying down, dance, honky, dance, right? And I love that. Because you cannot take it seriously. But it's a great movie, and I really dig it. But anyway, the streaming service has been shut down. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Like Pam Grier and Richard Roundtree and all these other people that came from that era. I mean, where are we going to watch the movies that they started from? And a lot of them videos you cannot get on DVD. So you have to seek them out of streaming. So what I'm saying is, to bottleneck this conversation, is that they need a place for all entertainment so that if you want to see a movie, you can check it out. And you don't have to worry about it disappearing, And that's what I'm scared of, like some of the movies I love, like the original Star Wars, right? You can't find that. They bring it out, they show it in the theater once every 10 years or 15 years, but to actually have a copy of it, you can't have that. Or the R-rated, Gremlins movie that was supposedly produced but then cut for $2. You can't watch that. They're movies that I look up on my Google TV and I'm like, hey, Google TV, look for Darkman 3, and they say not available or something. And I'm scared, man, because some of these movies as a kid, I wish we could have. I did see one movie, Ruskies, and I seen that when I was 6, and I know I'm going back. And it's on somewhere, but I did see it. It gave me a little glimmer of hope that maybe, movies will be more, adapt to streaming. So let's hope. Peace.